We will be starting in 1 minute. Welcome, everyone. All good video, folks? Excellent. Welcome, everyone. I am so honored to introduce our very special conference keynote. We are excited to have this fantastic speaker, inspiring educator, and valued colleague, Nellie Deutsch, and in SL, Nellie Humwood. Dr. Deutsch is co-chair of TESOL, Call IS, and on the TESOL Electronic Village Online coordination team. She is also the past head of EVO, an instructor at the IMT Immersive Technologies MSc program at International Hellenic University, and a mentor to educators worldwide. Nellie has taught English in public schools and colleges for over 40 years and integrated technology in the computer room in high school since 1992. She joined SL in 2007 as Nellie Humwood. She offers free annual online professional development courses and webinars on Moodle for Teachers and provides a free Moodle platform for teachers to teach on teachers teaching teachers. She founded the annual Moodle MOOC Virtual World MOOCs and online conferences, and you'll see those dates. Very impressive. She implements learner autonomy, video-based mobile, and desktop learning, collaborative and peer learning, open education resources, emerging technologies, and self-care with mindfulness, and the Alexander Technique, face-to-face, entirely online and in blended learning formats. Please welcome the inspiring and unforgettable Dr. Nellie Deutsch. Over to you, Nellie.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I kept looking around to see who you were talking about because, wow, that sounds amazing. All right, so thank you for that. And thank you everyone for joining us today at this amazing event. And congratulations, 17 years is quite an accomplishment. I'd also like to thank LV for always being there for me, always supporting me, and for inviting me to give this keynote. And I'm truly honored and hope that I can do justice and that maybe she's watching because this is for her. I'd also like to thank everyone behind the scenes and Ellie, of course, for making me feel at home. And it's not something that, I would take lightly. I think it's amazing that you can do this and make everyone feel so at home. And I think that's what Second Life is about. It's about making everyone feel at home. So feel at home wherever you are. And hopefully you're here with us and not just watching the recording. Going to start with the presentation. And I think I might have skipped something, so let me go back. So just a little overview. I hope you can see that. I'll give you a little introduction and background, and then we'll compare educators as mythic heroes. I'll take you through the training grounds that we go through in the online professional development, and then we'll compare mythic heroes and educators and shared quest, the Heroes Fellowship, which are online communities as I see them, and then of course our aspirations and goals, which is to empower our students. And I do this through visual storytelling and digital problem solving. And then I'll get to some concluding remarks. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to ask them. I think there is time at the end, hopefully, for questions. Right, so I think I skipped something here. Sorry that I'm not doing too well here. Let me try that again. All right, so that's it. That's the one. All right, so right, so how did I get started? My adventure started with students. I had about 45 students in the classroom, and it was an English classroom. I mean, students didn't know how to speak or use the language very well, and they really wanted to be able to speak. And I thought, how in the world am I going to teach these students when I had 45 in the classroom, sometimes even more? How can I get to them? So I decided to look for a way. It was around 1992, and I thought, well, there's got to be a way. There's the internet, so maybe I can use the internet and the computer room and help students one-on-one. And it worked. I was scared. I have to be honest with you. I didn't know anything about computer rooms. I only had my own computer, and that was it. And to have students all together in a computer room without any guidance, just me and the students, was scary. But we managed, and that's how it started, in the computer room. Later on, I went through stages, various stages. I got my own website, I started learning, and then I got Moodle, Learning Management System, in 2006. And that's when everything changed. I had freedom, the freedom to do exactly what I wanted, because the schools that I worked for didn't have Moodle, they didn't have anything. In fact, technology wasn't even used. And I tried to tell them what I was doing, but nobody really understood, and nobody really wanted to know. And parents even complained, saying that their kids weren't learning because they were doing all the work, and I was just there, and I wasn't talking to them. I mean, I wasn't talking at them. I wasn't lecturing. They were doing the work, and they couldn't figure out why that would help them in any way. I mean, these days things have changed, so that was in those days. Let me take you through a timeline here. It started in 1993. That's when I went into the computer room. And Moodle, I started in 2003 when I connected with another teacher from Montreal. And we decided to co-teach at a distance. I was in Toronto and she was in Montreal, to teach at a distance literature. And we thought of different things, and we built a course on Moodle. And that's how it started in 2003, 2004, until around 2008, when I was doing it not just with a teacher from Montreal, but I was working with teachers from around the world, from Europe, from Italy, Holland, and France and other countries, not just in Canada. Then I went on to the United States, and we called it a literature project because that's what we were doing, collaborative literature project with high school students from around the globe. And then in 2009, sorry, I started Moodle training. I thought, if this is working for me, maybe it'll work for others. Maybe other teachers would be interested in collaborating and learning how to use Moodle, because I knew it worked. So in 2009, I started Moodle training for teachers, completely free. And I also started Connecting Online, 3-day online conference. And you might think, well, why would you do that? Why would you start these things? And again, the reason was to learn, to try to go beyond the classroom, to try to get to know other people, other teachers from around the world, and not just to learn from the limitations that were around me. And then in 2011, I started the MMVC, which is has been running since then. Both Connecting Online and MMVC have been running up to now for 3 days. And the presenters keep coming back. So it's kind of a family where we learn together. And then in 2013, I started Moodle MOOC. And in 2014, the VWMOOC, which was called Second Life MOOC in those days. Later on, we changed it. So this is it. This is the classroom, and you can see on the left, that's what I was doing from 2003 until around 2018, when I stopped teaching face-to-face, and I started teaching only online. And now it's not in the computer room anymore, of course. It's in the classroom where students use their phones mostly. All right. So we're going to go through some Mythic Parallels. I'm having problems with the slides. Educators and heroes. How are they similar? Or maybe the same? First of all, they both inspire. Teachers inspire. And I've been working with teachers for many years, and I am inspired. I just finished a course, a 5-week course. And that's why I give these courses, because they inspire me. They go through obstacles. You know, I can't believe the things that they manage to do. Whatever I ask them to do, they're ready to do it. They're afraid, they're not sure, but they do it. They go through lots of challenges, but they manage somehow. And what I like about it is that they think that there's some kind of magic. How is it that they're managing? Because they've never done these things before. And I'm talking about using various technology tools. They use tools in ways that they've never done before. They're in a learning management system that they have never encountered before. They don't know what online learning is, but they're doing it, and they're in it. They're immersed in this online environment, and they're doing it. And they don't even look, to me anyways, they don't seem to be having any problems. It's as if they were there all the time and they're managing, but nonetheless, it isn't easy for them. And they go through quite a few challenges. And the reason that they manage is not just because of my support, even though they keep saying my support. It's because of each other. They support one another. And that's what keeps them together. And that's what keeps them going. They learn from one another. They support one another. So whatever happens along the way, and there are lots of things that happen along the way. There are lots of technical issues, internet connection, using a browser, a simple thing like using a browser can be problematic unless you clear the cache. Sometimes they don't see images, things disappear, but they manage and they go on because of the team, because they work as a team and they're not alone. And I think that's what it's about. It's about working together and exploring and knowing that others will be doing the same. You're not alone. Others will be exploring. Others will be maybe having difficulties, but they'll go on. The worlds that I use, well, first of all, there's virtual world. There are various virtual worlds. And then there's the Moodle LMS. The base is the Moodle itself. That's where the content is. That's where the engagement is. That's where I call them participants, not students, since they are teachers. I'm talking about teacher educators. That's where they add their content and their stories, their reflections, and I'll explain how that's done. It's done through professional development. They join courses because they want to be able to use technology, the latest technology. It depends on the years, of course. I'm talking about a period of, I guess, 20 years, over 20 years. So things have changed. The tools have changed. Now it's artificial intelligence, and that's what I use. I generally use the latest version of Moodle. And the courses are, as I mentioned before, Moodle MOOCs, Virtual World MOOCs, Connecting Online Conferences, 3-day, the Moodle MOOC 3-day online conference, and the Electronic Village Online, which is also an annual event for 5 weeks. And they are active. They learn what being active is. In other words, I don't do the work. They do the work. I just organize the course. I'm there to support them. They support one another, but they do the work. They learn through videos. They introduce themselves using Voki or DID. DID is an AI image to video, where the image speaks as a video. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but you're welcome to try it out, DID. And they create videos. It's not just text, even though they like to use text, but they need to show what they're learning. And it doesn't really matter whether they created something correctly. In fact, I encourage them to make mistakes, because the more mistakes they make,
we'll be starting
the more
in
comfortable
1
they
minute.
feel
Welcome,
that they
everyone.
can make mistakes. And that's a learning process. So they create videos to show what they are doing as they do it, using screen recorders. They also create presentations using only images, not as I'm doing right now with text. They only use images and they speak about it and the process using Canva or Novio. And the rewards, they earn levels and badges, digital badges. And the most important part, as far as they're concerned, is the reflection on the process. They showcase their work, and they're very proud of their work. They create, as I said, videos of all their work, and they create
folks.
a book using Book Creator or Canva. And they publish the book. And that's where they feel that they've accomplished something.
Excellent.
That's their work, and they can showcase it. And that's how they get their
Welcome,
final
everyone.
certificate. And of course,
I am
everything
so
is
honored
completely
to introduce
free.
our very special conference keynote.
How are educators like Mythic Heroes? Well, first of all, they have a quest. And the quest is to make a change in their classrooms. They want to change their classrooms. That's what they tell me. They want their students to be able to enjoy the classes. They want them to be able to use technology because they think that that's how they're going to reach their students. Mythic Heroes undertake epic quests, and they also do the same. The stakes may be higher and the challenges may seem impossible, but that's the same for educators. They come not knowing much. They are afraid, but they have a purpose. And the purpose is to be able to make a change in their classroom. And there's a little bit about the training grounds, because they do train and they get better and better. And it's not just learning about the tools, they also learn about themselves. And I think that's the exciting part for me, when they reflect on the changes that they go through as a result of the process, because they're doing something. It's not just writing and expressing yourself through writing, even they do that too, through journals, but by teaching, because that's what they know best. They know how to teach, and that's what they do with the videos. They're actually teaching. They're providing a showcase. They're demonstrating what they did by talking, which is what teachers like to do, and creating the videos as they go through their training. And they feel empowered, and they say that. You know, it's not just something that I say, they say. These are their words. And that's how I view them. And you can see the connection in the image. And they do run around. They hurry up because courses have a starting date, and they also have an end to the course. So they want to hurry up. And one of the reasons that they want to hurry up is because they want to be able to get feedback, and they want to be able to watch their colleagues, their peers work as well. Because as I said, it becomes very, very collaborative, and they love to comment on each other's work, and they complement one another. It's absolutely amazing to, these are strangers from around the world. It's fully online, and they're providing very positive feedback. Everyone's very positive. And that's amazing to watch. And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy watching this as they run around trying to complete the tasks and enjoying themselves. And why do they do it? Well, there are reasons such as career advancement, skill enhancement, but the most important part is self-reflection. They learn about themselves, and it empowers them. So these are some personal and professional development for educators, because they go through both. And they see that they go through both. They sense this, that they're not only learning for school, but they're also changing as individuals as they go through the process. The platform that I use, as I said before, is a Moodle platform. It's the latest version of Moodle. I always make sure that I have the latest. I have my own hosting platform, so that I'm fully in charge of the Moodle. By the way, one of the reasons that I decided to use Moodle was because I wanted to have the freedom to experiment, try things out, not only with my students, but also with others from around the globe. and be able to do things that my universities or high school did not provide. And that was allowed. It was fine. But even though they didn't understand what I was doing at the beginning, but they were okay with it. But they didn't provide the tools that I needed. And as I mentioned before, these are the programs. So that's the door that the heroes, the teachers, the educators opened up for me as I went from using books in the classroom to going beyond the classroom for my students, and then going beyond the classroom as an educator, and then as a teacher educator, which is what I've been doing since then. And that is empowering students and teachers, because what teachers learn is what they can do in the classroom. They first experience it, and then they model it for their students, so they know what it feels like. And they do this through storytelling tools. As I mentioned before, they tell their story using technology, whatever tool we're working with. They tell their story, because every story is different, because people are different, we're all different. And how we take these tools, what they mean to us, how we express ourselves with the tools is not the same. And that's what's wonderful. It's wonderful to learn how each and every one of them uses the tools. And then, of course, how they use it in the classroom. And then you get ideas and more ideas. So that eventually, without knowing it, you reach a point where you're solving problems that you didn't know you had, or you had and you forgot about them because you thought it was impossible to solve. And all that through the journey. And it is a journey. It's a journey full of challenges, but a journey that is full of surprises, full of joy. They're very happy, very fulfilling, even with the frustrations that they may experience, because everyone goes through it and you're not alone. That's, I think, the most important part. No one is alone, they're together. And what they take with them is a toolkit, something that they'll have for the rest of their lives. And then they come back for more. And the reason they come back for more is because things change, technology changes, and there's a need to connect. Teaching is a very lonely, I guess, it's a lonely profession, because you're alone in the classroom. It's not as if you're in an office. I mean, you do have your office hours, but when you're in the classroom, in the lecture hall, wherever you teach, face to face, you're alone. So it's a very lonely place. And teachers need to be able to talk with others, to be able to discuss and share and try things out together. And the best way to connect is to learn. When you're learning, you are connecting, and that's what it's about. It's not just about learning technical skills. It's beyond that. It's learning to think critically. It's learning to accept others, accept yourself, because there are lots of hurdles that you need to face, and you face. But the minute you realize that you're not the only one and you're not alone anymore in your classroom, that you've got colleagues and people that will support you, it makes the journey a lot easier. And sometimes schools don't provide this, or teachers are afraid. They're more cautious about taking workshops and professional development with their peers at school, and more open to taking it with strangers for some reason. I guess because maybe they can be more open, but something to think about, why teachers find it easier to learn with teachers from around the globe and not with their own. So these are my concluding remarks. And I want to thank you.
Thank you, Nellie. We do have time for some questions.
Great.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I didn't see any. They were spellbound. Do you guys have any questions? And actually, while we're waiting for them, maybe I'll just get started with one.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask, you spoke a lot about tools that support you. We just had a great quadrivium conversation about tools just before the keynote. We would so appreciate your point. We so appreciated your points about using quests, videos, your constructivist approach, students doing work. We know that's really important. You've shared some great approaches. Do you have a favorite approach to get students comfortable, or a tool that helps with interactivity? And please, guys, go ahead and post your questions as well.
Every tool, every tool that I choose makes them feel that they're, that they're closer to each other, and that they're open. It opens them up. I start out with an introduction. I mentioned that I use, these days, I use DID, which is a photo. You take a photo of yourself standing somewhere, and then you add voice to it, your voice preferably, because I'd like to hear their voices. But you can use another voice, an avatar's voice, and that's how you introduce yourself. And they like that so much because, first of all, it's an experience. All of a sudden, you're standing. There was one teacher who was in a phone booth in England. I think she was from Croatia originally, and she visited London, and someone took a photo of her in the phone booth, and that's where she was talking, and there she is presenting herself. My name is, and so on, in a phone booth, and you can see her mouth moving, and she's speaking. So it looks like a video, as if she's there, or someone else is in a park, and they're introducing themselves in the park, but they're not really in the park. It's just a photo of them in the park. And this excites them. It makes them feel comfortable right away because they did something that they thought was amazing. So that's an example.
Great example, thank you. And did we get the tool right? We have it in the text DID?
D dash in the middle, ID.
Awesome. Awesome. So our transcriptionist did it right. Thank you, thank you. Cynthia asked the question, Nellie, how can we help others know that they're not alone?
Well, that's a good question. I think working together, I think learning helps, at least in my I mean, that's what I do with my students and face-to-face, you know, my in-person classroom and online, is to help, I mean, to encourage them to ask questions, first of all, and then to answer each other's questions. Because somebody always has an answer for someone else. You know, it's not like there's a question and only one person can answer it, and that's the teacher. I mean, stepping back a bit and not always being, I know we've talked about this a lot, but actually doing it, stepping back and letting the students support one another and teach one another, because that's what they do with the videos. They're actually teaching one another, and everybody will be teaching it differently, but it doesn't make a difference. It's their experiences. And that's how they don't feel alone, because they're contributing to each other's learning.
Absolutely love it as well. It's so, just to ask this, it's so interesting that you like to use images rather than text. You tried to do that with your slides today.
Yeah,
can you share
I
about
shouldn't have.
that?
Yeah, I don't think that, you know, for presentations, I don't think that words, I mean, it really confused me, especially with the slides. If I had had just images as I normally have, it would have been a lot better for me. I think that images, first of all, there's a lot of critical thinking behind it. You have to choose an image. Whether, I mean, I had a course that I was teaching on immersive technologies, and that's what the students had to do. Instead of, they had to try out different virtual rooms, and then they had to, instead of just writing about it or creating a video about it, they had to create through Canva, and I'm familiar with Canva, they had to create a presentation, and this is at a distance, using their voice, their own voice. They had to have their camera open, and they could use anything that they wanted, but they had to only use images, maybe a bit of text here and there for the references, because they had to add citations where they got the information. And they reviewed the tools this way by using images. Now, it's not easy to find an image. It takes time. It takes a lot of thinking. But once you're happy with whatever image you choose, it's yours. And I think that the connection to your work through the presentation is a lot more meaningful and more relevant to you, rather than just using words, especially nowadays when they can use, get the text from, say, ChatGPT or any other Gemini or Bing. So that's one of the reasons why I don't want them to use, you know, text taken from somewhere else. I want them to be themselves and to express how they feel. And I think images capture that a lot better than words when you're doing a presentation. If you're writing a paper, that's another story. But if you're just going to present your review of something, I think that images can do that a lot better.
Excellent. Like my grandmother said, picture's worth 1,000 words, right?
Your grandmother only, eh?
Well, along that theme, oh, and Madeline's kind of saying the same thing as I was going to. Have you dipped your toe in AI?
Is that a joke? No kidding.
No, no. And Madeline
No,
asked, how would you
as
use
I said, yeah,
images?
I was teaching. I mean, I just finished a course. One of the courses, I had about 7 at the same time. One of the courses was AI and ELT. And we had, I think, about over 90 completed no, I think way over 90. I don't know how many actually completed the course. And maybe 100 and something joined the course. It was amazing. It was really amazing. Because when you teach, you're actually learning a lot more. So, which is why, by the way, I encourage teachers to teach. I mean, my students, my teachers, to teach as a way to learn. Because you have to get the information, you have to be able to try things out, and then create the course. So yes, I've been talking a lot about AI. I've been using AI extensively for the past, I guess, 2 years, quite a bit. And I also encourage others to try it and decide what works for them, and whether it's something that they want to use or not, instead of just talking about it but not having experienced it.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. And Madeline did ask how, if you were using AI like DALL-E, will you change your approach? And maybe you haven't had a chance really to talk about that or think about that.
DALL-E for images. There
Yes.
are others. I mean, there's Copilot, there's Designer, Microsoft Designer. That's probably a lot better than DALL-E, even though they also use DALL-E. I use ChatGPT 4, but I don't like their images. The ones that they use, I prefer, actually, I do prefer Copilot. I think their images are better. But yeah, I think for images, I think it's great for, for those of us that are not photographers or illustrators. But on the other hand, for illustrators, it might not be a good thing because they're actually using everybody's work. So yeah, there are issues.
It's a whole conversation, isn't it?
Yep. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Definitely.
We did have another question. Can you say more about using Second Life for teacher development programs or other virtual worlds?
Second Life. I loved Second Life when I had it on Moodle. There was a SLoodle. I don't know if you recall that or if you knew about it, but there was SLoodle, and it was kind of a bridge between Moodle to Second Life years ago. It was really good, but they stopped it, and there's no interest, I guess, in bringing it back. With virtual worlds, depends if we're talking about Second Life or what world we're talking about. But if we're talking about Second Life, Second Life is, I mean, what you can do a lot of things, but you can't do what I do with the videos. It's not an LMS, and I need an LMS to engage with the students, and I find that Second Life is limiting. I would have to use both, and which is what I do. I use both.
You might be interested in knowing that Phelan did ask the Lindens yesterday about a similar thing as SLoodle, because many of us are missing that.
That would be wonderful. Oh, I try to convince the developer of SLoodle to come back, but he's not interested. That would be great.
Oh,
I would love to be part of that. Yes, definitely.
Doing that for sure. Thank you. And I am not seeing other questions from the audience, but I think that there are people who are interested in. We love how you invite educators from around the world to present at your MOOCs. Can you share about how you made that decision and how that has grown and works? Because you have a unique approach to that, in my opinion.
Well, that's lots of questions there. Can you start with the first one? What would you like to know? Because you had a lot of questions in there.
Oh, sorry. So you guys invite educators from around the world in a very unique way. You kind of put the word out, and then they respond, if I have that correct. How did you guys decide to do that, and has it grown, and does it work?
You're talking about the virtual world MOOC?
Yes.
Okay. yeah, it has grown actually. Yes, it yeah, things grow. I think it's putting the word out there. You have to have followers, and when you have a huge following, then it's very easy to get people to join. So first thing, you have to get your name out there as an organization, or if you're a person like me. Um, and then people just join because either they heard from somebody else by word of mouth, so to speak, and the internet's huge, so we're talking about a lot of people, and then they keep coming back, I guess. But it's called marketing, but we're not talking about anything. We're not talking about money here, so it's not like it's not a business. It's spreading the word on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, which X, which I don't really like. No, X doesn't really work. I would say LinkedIn is a good place to find educators, or to at least to try to get educators to learn about what you're doing. LinkedIn is, I think, is the best place to put the word out there that there is something happening. I hope I answered that. I'm not sure.
Good. Thank you very much. And actually, Edith said earlier that LinkedIn, so she's remembering that as well. Day has a question. Have you looked at 3D web worlds? It is run by an author, and you can iframe 3D web worlds into Moodle.
What worlds is the person referring to, for example?
3D web worlds is the name of the product. Yes.
As far as I know, and I think I know everything about Moodle, the plugins that are available, I have not heard of anything. I wish, as I said before, I wish there was something, but I don't know of anything that integrates with any LMS, in fact. Definitely not with Moodle. So if there is something out there, I'd be very happy to learn about it and use it. I'm looking for a portal between the two, because you can't get that many people, first of all, in these, it's limited in virtual worlds. I think they're all limited. And you need to continue the discussions, you need to continue the engagement, and the place to do it is on an LMS. If you're not familiar with Moodle, it is very powerful with lots of amazing plugins, including AI these days. That's also part of it, not just for images, but also ChatGPT. Open is available. You can add that. There's a plugin for that, but I don't know of any plugin for 3D.
We'll get that link and you can check it out. We'll get you that link and we can check it.
Yeah.
And you can check it out and see if you feel like
it's
working well.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that.
And we are kind of winding up, but we have one more question from Rihanna, which I think there are a lot of people interested in this. With all the amazing courses and events that you produce and teach at, and so many are free, she said that in capital letters, how can you make this financially sustainable?
That's not part of the equation. That's a good question. I'm not suggesting that anybody does what I do, because it's self-funded. I'm not trying to make money out of it. That's not my goal. I mean, I have a job. I don't need this is not a job. It's work. It's a lot of work, but it's not a paid job. So and as I said, it's not something that I would recommend to others. Like, do this, but I do recommend teaching online using Moodle. That I do, but I guess. Yeah,
and you do so well. You do so well. Thank you.
I mean, sometimes we do besides I don't know how to explain this. I've had talks with people about this. Why do we do things for free? And I find that what I do for free is a lot, I don't know, it's a lot more fun, and I can experiment and do things, and I feel freer than when I do things where I get paid. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I like to do things for free, especially for educators. I'm not talking about tangible things. I'm talking about providing online services such as instruction and learning. I think that's different from. I think learning should be free. I mean, that was always my attitude, so I don't want to go into that. But that's basically my attitude, that learning should be free for everybody. I mean, somebody should pay for it, of course, but not teachers, not educators. They should have it all for free.
Nellie, you are just amazing. We thank you. You've given us so much to think about. You are so inspiring, and you are truly one of our educational heroes. So let's give a big thank you to Dr. Deutsch, and we so appreciate you being here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
This is the end of our presentation, but we do appreciate all of you and your great comments and questions. A big thank you to our transcriptionists. Aren't they amazing? We hope you have a great day here ahead at the conference. Deciding what to attend is going to be hard. I want to remind everyone to check the program often. And as you saw in the chat, next we have a chance to move around with folk dancing with the Second Life Folk Dance Center. I can say that this morning, presented by our wonderful social committee, starting at 10 at the Social Wellness Science Center. We have a full day of great events, and thank you again. We'll see you around the metaverse. Thank you, and big hugs, Nellie.
Thank you.